What is up, Utah? It's your co-host Ryan and James here. How are you doing, Ryan?
Doing good.
Good.
Doing good.
Well, we got game one in the books.
Game one's in the books.
History is being written.
History was made last night.
Yes, it was. Numerous ways.
Numerous ways, yes. Delta Center, or Smith Entertainment Group, made some fan-friendly decisions for concessions. They got $2 and $3 options, which is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I think they were thinking of families. Games are usually at 7, so you're getting off work, driving home, picking up the family, driving straight to the arena, so families can not have to worry about driving through somewhere and making it to the game on time. They can just, I think for what they've priced between a beverage, a hot dog, a churro, and ice cream, that can feed you.
Yep.
And for pretty cheap, probably cheaper than you can go through McDonald's and get a meal there.
Oh, yeah.
So that's awesome. So that, I mean, I've never been to any sporting event with food that cheap. So
no, maybe the Salt Lake Bees will do like a $1 hot dog day, but if you want a hot dog, you got to stand in line for 3 or 4 innings to get a $1 hot dog, and they're only 3 times the price, but you probably won't have to stand in crazy lines.
Yeah, no, you won't.
But
you got concession places all over, so should be good.
But Utah is going to pack the house, so there's probably going to be lines for the full season, unless you want to go in the middle of the game.
How are those merchandise lines?
Oh, man. So I went to the top floor. They had a little mini merch shop. It didn't really have any of the merch I wanted. I was going for kind of the inaugural game merch.
So that at the main entrance shop?
So they had some at the main entrance, and then they had a bigger merch store up top. So they had 2 merch stores up top.
Yeah, they did that the preseason game too.
And I'm sure the main floor had some pop-up shops too, but we didn't walk around there. It was too chaotic, so we kind of just bolted straight to our seats. Spoiler alert, I was there. But yeah, so the merch lines, once I got into the bigger one in the upper stories, I found my merch pretty quickly, but they only had a couple mediums and a handful of smalls for the particular shirt I wanted. Grabbed those and then stood in line for about 30 minutes, and I was like, I'm gonna miss the puck drop. What is going on? Did make it there with about 15 minutes to spare, but it was insane. I talked to the guy who checked my clothes out, and I was like, hey, are you going to get any more of these sizes up on this floor? And he's like, you got to go downstairs, but we're probably sold out of everything already. Like, what's out is out. And that was, I mean, again, this was like 7:30, 8 o'clock-ish.
The game started at 8?
Yeah.
Or was it a little delayed?
So the official puck drop for the start of the game was at like 8:22. So.
Okay.
But yeah, I guarantee they were sold out of everything by the end of the game.
Oh, I'm sure. So from what I've been told by someone that works there, won't mention names in case they aren't supposed to be giving information out, but previously their record was in one night about 180,000, and that was at a Jazz playoff game, and that was the record all time for Delta Center concerts, sporting events, anything that's happened there. That was the record. That's a lot of merchandise in one day.
That's how you know that a Taylor Swift concert never came to Salt Lake.
Well, that's a lot of merchandise, right? One for a few hours, making 180,000 in sales. But last night, hockey fans came with ready to spend some money because they set a new record now at about 490,000 in
Ooh-wee.
merchandise sales. So
And
Utah was ready for some hockey.
we were ready, and we'll probably do it again when we come up with a team name officially.
Exactly, yeah. Next year it'll happen again. And I'm sure games throughout this season they're going to have. Probably not that big, but they're going to be big nights because the arena only holds so many people, and people want to go to these games. So
The joke's on you, though, because it might have been a big number, but that was really only about 49 people buying merch. So
they were all spending lots of money, huh?
the fan prices for a handful of concessions might be good, but man, they had like little knickknacks that were like $40. You'd pick something up and it was $40. A shot glass was like $35. I'm like, what is this?
Jeez.
So not the most fan friendly merch, but still super awesome. Like, I don't think I saw anyone leaving that arena without the little black bags that they give you when you buy your clothes. So
everybody got something.
Yep.
That's awesome.
But
And
last night was electric.
yeah, tell us about it, from showing up, everything they had going, and
So
what the experience was.
they announced a little over a week ago, I feel like, that they were going to have a big, huge block party that started, like the press conference started at noon or something.
Something like that.
Concert started at 4:30, and obviously I have my day job, so I was like, okay, I can't get there too early because of work, but it's going to be utter mayhem.
Yeah.
So we got down there right at 5, and it was already chaos. They had blocked off the road, so traditional traffic was different. Fans were everywhere. I mean, I'm talking probably 10,000 plus fans were outside at that point.
Yeah.
Took a picture of it. It's pretty insane, and they were showing it up on the billboard, or not the billboard, but the
Big
jumbotron, pretty
They had a
regularly
watch party
too.
out there too.
So that was insane, but the atmosphere, I mean, we're talking 3 hours before the game, and people were cheering, people were excited. It was powder blue or whatever
you
you
were
want
there 3
to call
hours
it.
before the game. I
Yeah.
was seeing stuff online, people posting pictures
Oh,
like in the morning.
I don't
Before
doubt
noon.
it. I don't
and
doubt
there
it.
was it's like, man, I think the NHL would have done good by having Utah's first home game on a Saturday.
Right?
But the turnout didn't stop. I guess people burned some sick time to get and be part of it.
They must have. I wanted to, but just didn't make sense. But it was, even like I said, getting there 3 hours early was just absolutely insane. Like how crowded and just excited the atmosphere was. So we went further away from the arena to grab food. They did have food trucks and everything set up and whatnot, but we're just like, let's make an experience. And in this restaurant, 95% of the people there were probably going to the game too. So we got to the game, or to the arena, a little after 6:30, and the line was out the door to try to get in, and we found another side door, got right in within minutes. And it was just electric. Like, I've had Jazz season tickets for 6 or 7 years now, and I've only experienced that once or twice in a playoff atmosphere. So super cool. I'm trying to think if there was anything pregame.
Shabuzi.
We didn't really
You didn't
go
make
over
it for
there.
that,
No,
huh?
we avoided that. That's where the crowds were.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then we got to our seats. Went and bought some merch. That took up the majority of our downtime. And then kind of the whole intro was incredible. I've never seen anything like that in the Delta Center. It was just the production was top notch.
Most teams go all out opening night, but I'm sure this game one in the history of the franchise probably was. But yeah, most teams very first opening night are going to go all out with introducing every player and where they're from and all that. So I expected that, and then the laser light show on the ice.
Yeah, and that's something unique that I think hockey will always be able to do, and NBA is further off from it. Not saying it's impossible, but you can project lasers on a white surface easier than you can on a wooden surface. So, but yeah, the introduction was awesome. The fans stood up the entire time, yelled every single player's name, especially like the bigger guys, the bigger names.
O'Brien.
O'Brien, Spicy Tuna. And then we just stayed loud. We're 30 seconds into the game, and you hear a chant building on the opposite side of the arena from where we were sitting. And then it just slowly started building through the entire arena. And that trend continued throughout the entire game. It would start in our section. It would start in the section kitty corner from us or to the side of us. And lower bowl, upper bowl, like someone would just start cheering like, let's go Utah, 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 whatever. And it would just fill up the whole stadium.
Dang. That's cool.
The first goal was incredible. Like
Dylan Gunther made history.
Yep.
That's something to remember for future sports trivia.
Yes.
Who scored the first goal for Utah? Dylan Gunther.
Yes.
Number 11.
And I think he's going to quickly become a fan favorite.
Yeah. What's crazy is they picked him up. He was still under contract this year, but he was going to be a restricted free agent. He's a young guy. So they had his rights anyway. But Utah just went ahead and signed him to an 8-year deal, almost $8 million a year. But he had never played a full NHL season. He
That's incredible.
He got called up from the AHL last year and played right around 50 games. I don't know. A couple more, a couple less maybe, but they had the intention of, okay, you're coming up till someone gets in or someone's healthy, then you're going back. But while he was there, he did so well. There was like, we're not sending you back. And then this year, he got paid.
Was it rewarded?
It'll start next season.
Yeah.
He's still under his contract for this year, but next season, he's getting paid. So a little over $7 million, almost $8 million a year.
Which isn't even that big of a hit overall, right?
For Utah, no, because we still have about another almost $9 million in cap space. So come trade deadline, or even between now and trade deadline, we can pick up some decent players with cap space we still have.
That's cool. So exciting times. Like Utah looked good. There was definitely some stress in the third period.
Yeah, it did get stressful.
When the Blackhawks got it within one, and they controlled the third period for the most part. The Blackhawks
They hit post a couple times.
Yep. And
got scary.
Yeah. Ingram was incredible, though. Had some fantastic saves. And that was just every save he had, like the whole arena would just erupt again. Then
go ahead.
And then, yeah, just the last 2 minutes, 3 minutes, things really changed back in Utah's favor, and we instantly padded our lead. But, yeah, really just the crowd was in it. The players were super stoked to be here.
Well, I heard an interview today. Logan Cooley, I mean, he's was a rookie last year, but played the full season. But he said that was the loudest game he has ever played in. So, again, obviously from playing at the Mullet Arena that seats 4,000 people, But he's been around the NHL, and
Yeah, he's traveled.
crowds get noisy for their teams, but he's saying that's the loudest game he's ever played in.
And we weren't even a full capacity of what we're going to be one day.
Yeah.
Like,
Still going to be a few thousand more seats
Yep.
able to be filled. Yesterday, even though it got scary at times and stats wise, the game was pretty close. Shots on goal, close. They had 26 shots on goal. We had 27. So the third period, Blackhawks started coming alive, but it was weird when we were on penalty kills. Some of the times it looked like we were the ones
Oh, yeah.
a man up because the defense was doing so good, just in the right position to take the puck away or block the shot. So Ingram didn't even have to make a save. They picked the shot off and they got out the zone quick. And there were a couple times we were down there passing the puck around shorthanded and getting shots off. And my wife even noticed. She was like, wait, we're shorthanded right now. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, yeah, these guys are fired up right now.
Well, in those moments, we never got a shorthanded goal, unfortunately, but we were close, and the whole stadium, everyone in the arena would slowly rise up and then be like, oh, bummer.
A couple of our goals were like 10 to 20 seconds after the penalty ended. Because I was looking, I was like, how was our special teams? Like, between penalty kill and power play, teams can judge how well their special teams are by if you're at 100% or higher with that. If your penalty kill, you kill 20% of them. Penalty kill, you'd be hoping for way better than 20. So like 80% of your penalty kills you're killing, and then 25% of your power plays you're scoring on, you're at 105%, essentially.
Okay. Yeah.
So then you can say, okay, our special teams are doing good. So I wanted to know from last night, because both teams had penalty minutes, and I was like, there was nothing. It was so we didn't let in a shorthanded goal, but we didn't score while we were. So it's still to be determined if we're going to be above 100%, but we got to wait. One game is going to be hard to judge it off of.
Yeah.
We got to wait a few games in and see, but they looked good shorthanded last night. It was awesome.
They did, and I felt like the penalties were a little lopsided. I don't think it was necessarily a poorly officiated game. There were a couple holds that I think Chicago got away from.
Yeah.
But overall, I feel like Utah definitely had more power plays. Not power plays, but penalty kills. What were the official?
The Blackhawks had 17 penalties minutes, and Utah had 11.
Okay.
So both of them had a 5 minutes fighting. And then we had 6 other minutes, so 3 penalties. They had the 5 and then 12 more minutes, so 6 more penalties. So
yeah,
they had 3 more penalties essentially than we did. They had more hits by 4. We'd blocked shots. They had 12 blocked shots. We had 23, so we killed them in that.
I was going to say, we were blocking like crazy.
Which is, the defensive core is way different than it was last year in Arizona. So the Arizona fans knew defense had to step up and get improved. And with a new owner group, not afraid to spend money, they got a lot of veteran demon, which the team didn't have a lot of veterans at all. So it's going to be an exciting season.
I agree. I think we're going to I don't know if I believe this yet, but I did see that there's already Utah fans who are like, oh, Utah's going to win the cup this year.
So they'd have to spend that cap space we have to make that happen. I mean, it would be awesome if it does happen. I think I was listening to
See,
some
guys,
other
he's
podcasts.
already swinging back over to the Utah team, leaving the
Yeah.
Avs behind.
I was listening to some podcasts, and one they had, it's from the Locked On Network, and they had the Avalanche guy, the Stars, the Predators lady that does that, and then the Jets, because they're predicted to be the top 4 teams in the Central Division, and which is what Utah is in. And they asked the question, the Nashville lady was hosting that, and she said, okay, we're predicted to be the top 4. Let's just suppose each of us can say one of us teams does not make it. Who is going to be the 4th team here? And she asked the Avalanche guy to go first, and he was like, yeah, it's not if, but the Jets are not making the playoffs, and Utah is. He's like, Utah's making it. And then she was like, okay. Went to the Dallas Stars guy, same thing. He's like, yeah, the Jets are probably out, and Utah is in. They've made so much improvement in the offseason, they're making the playoffs. Went to the Jets guy, and he was like, yeah, sad to say that Jets probably are not making the playoffs this year, and Utah's in. And then Nashville was like, well, I'm going last, and I'm glad you guys didn't say me, because I thought the Predators would not make it, and Utah would be in. So all 4 of them picked the Utah to be in the playoffs.
That's some high expectations. Let's hope we can actually fulfill them. Because, oh man, if anyone who experienced last night's game thought that was loud, like, just imagine our playoffs. Like,
or if they make it to the finals.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, we'll put Vegas to shame. And I don't know if it's outside the little Utah bubble that people think Vegas has the best fan base, but definitely pre-Utah Hockey Club, people in Utah were like...
Yeah, I watched preseason games of other teams at their arenas, and there was more empty seats than there was full.
Oh, yeah.
Like preseason games I went to here, almost a packed. I mean, it wasn't sellout, but it was packed.
Oh, yeah.
And they were loud. So even I watched an interview with one of the Kings players. I forgot which one, but he's been in the league a long time. And he was talking about it, and he said this is a crazy arena to play in. He's like, the seats are so steep that even the top row, you look up and it feels like those fans and the noise they're making, it feels like they're just right on top of you.
That's why the NBA gives the Jazz some of the best home court advantage. And while it's really weird for Utah for hockey, we still do have that steep arena, and we'll lose that with the renovations for hockey. But it's going to give us a fun home court advantage for a while, or home ice advantage.
So they've gone over, and in the preseason, Utah didn't do bad. 5-2 was the record for the 7 preseason games. And I'm an Avs fan, but I got mad on some of the Avs fan pages because I got on there and I'm reading it, and I like both teams. When I went to the Avs Utah game, I was cheering for both teams. Like,
yeah.
It was cool. A lot of people were. There were so many Avalanche fans there, and everyone that I noticed was still cheering when Utah scored, like up out of their seat cheering. And so there's going to be a lot of people that are. I had my team before. I got Utah now. I'm cheering for both. But in the Utah Avalanche fan pages, they were saying, yeah, well, Utah played their full starting line roster, and we have a bunch of AHL players there. I looked at the rosters and was like, no. It was about the same. So I got on there. I was like, hey, you're wrong. You're not going to like this, but no, Utah was not playing their full opening night roster. They had just as many prospects as Colorado did. So
it's amazing the misinformation and misunderstandings or just lack of education that you see on like posts. People, I saw one comment today about the Utah game. I almost called it the Jazz game, the Utah game, and they're like, the expansion draft is so unfair to the rest of the league. It just favors the expansion team. I'm like, bro, there's no expansion draft for the Utah Hockey Club. Like, check yourself.
We inherited Phoenix Coyotes.
Yeah.
The owner that did not want to spend money and give people contracts. So I can't guarantee, but I would safe to say Gunther got a big raise. His contract was up this year. Other players who have contracts coming up in the near future, a year, 2 years, saw that, and they're like, yeah, we want to play for these owners. Like, I'm going to start playing now to earn my paycheck in the future. So these guys are going to play when previous ownership, once they outperformed what he was willing to pay, he let them walk. He didn't, hey, let's try to keep you here. No, he let them walk and constantly had young players. Now that they'll be able to retain some of this talent that they're building, it's going to be a good team for a long time.
And sit down if you're a Utah Jazz fan, because what I'm about to say might not be believable to you, but we will attract top free agents too. The type of culture, the type of environment that Utah breeds and has is what most hockey players want. And whereas in the NBA you have everyone wants to go to Chicago or Boston or Dallas or whatever, I think we'll create a market here that will have top free agents wanting to play here. And as we develop the team, that youth, and bring in these top free agents, like we're going to be a threat for quite a while.
What's cool too is I think most teams, the owners are out of the picture. They may see the players once in a while. I could be wrong, but from teams I've watched it and things I've seen, you see the general manager and the coaches around the players. Last night when Ryan and Ashley Smith were out there dropping the puck, and Clayton Keller went to shake Ryan Smith's hand afterwards because he shook Foligno's hand, and Ryan Smith was like, nah, come in here. Gave him a hug. And then Ryan Smith is not in a press box at the game. He was sitting in the crowd with the fans, with Gary Bettman sitting right next to him. Normally, if the commissioner of the NHL is at the game, he's up in a press box with the owners, not down sitting in the crowd with the crowd. So he's just a different type of owner that I think the players are going to respect, because he's respecting them and helping them develop, and wants to keep them around, make them happy on and off the ice. So
it's going to be a lot of fun. Well, that was game one. We've got 81 games ahead of us by the end of the season.
Probably more with some playoffs.
Yeah, of course. But I think we'll end the season undefeated. I'll call it right now. No, but reality check.
As of this moment, we are in first place.
We are in first place. And, a lot of...
The way that works is another team won. But for people that don't know how, if it's tied, the team with the better plus-minus gets the higher place.
Let's go.
And so since the other team, I forgot who it was, they won by 1 goal. We won by 3. We are in first place and they're in second.
I think the Blues won by 1 goal, right?
Blues, that's who it was, yeah.
So, yeah, quite something. Our first season, and we're already leading the standings.
The only undefeated team right now in the NHL.
So, Well, awesome, guys. Stay tuned with us. We'll try to have these a lot more, be a lot more active now that the season's going, bring you a lot more news, and lot of exciting hockey ahead. And if you didn't know already, Utah hockey is here, and the NHL loves it. We love it, and it's here to stay.
Yes, sir.